Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Library Research Week of 2024. I'm Hanni Strydom, the Faculty Librarian for Economic and Management Sciences, and I'll be chairing this session. And with me is my colleague Lucinda Roth to assist with the chat and any questions. So this year's Library Research Week theme is Let's Achieve Research Excellence. And there will be several webinars based on the themes Let's Excel in Research Strategies, Let's utilize tools for research, and let's strive for research excellence. Today, we are on day 3 of the program with the theme, Let's Excel in Research Strategies. And we are going to kick off with managing your research with SunDMP FAIR Wizard. And this session will help researchers in understanding the core principles of FAIR data and the significances in modern research practices. Subjects including data management, creating metadata, and data sharing protocols will be addressed, focusing on how crucial it is to improve the discoverability and usability of research data. There will be time at the end of this session for questions, but please make use of the chat function anytime during the presentation. This session will be presented by one of our own librarians, and I'm handing over to Kubiso to introduce himself and to start the session.
Morning, everyone, and thank you, Handley. My name is Kabiso. I'm the Manager for Research Data Services here at Stellenbosch, and I'll be taking you through I'll be presenting on managing your research with SunDMP. And it is a pleasure to announce that we have successfully launched SunDMP, and I'm going to unpack what SunDMP entails. I'm going to switch off my camera and start sharing the screen that I will be talking about today.
We can see your screen. You can go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Handley, for that notification. Colleagues, I would like to welcome you in this session where we'll be talking about managing your research with SunDMP and also how SunDMP makes it easier for our researchers to be compliant to FAIR principles, and also how are they compliant to good research data management practices, and also be in a position whereby they can easily apply for any research grant if ever a DMP is needed. The outline of my presentation today, I'm just going to give a brief background on research data management, what it entails, and also why it is important to manage our data. And also touch on SunDMP, the new tool that Stellenbosch has launched, and also give just a practical demonstration on how researchers can access the tool and what are the key functionalities and features of the tool and what sets the tool apart from other DMP tools that are used. And also provide information about SunDMP support and also research support that is provided by Stellenbosch University in collaboration with different departments within the institution. And also just give a brief information about our upcoming training to ensure that our researchers can easily navigate the system at ease. We ask ourselves, what is research data management? Basically, research data management, it is just a process of providing the appropriate labeling, storage, and access for data at all stages of your research life cycle. And researchers, they ask themselves, why do they need to manage their data? Things have changed, as we all know. Our research is not the same as it used to be done previously. Now research has become rigorous, innovative, and very insightful, and lots of data is being generated in huge amounts. And it is important to ensure that the data that is produced, researchers have the capacity to create and store the data, and also to make sure that the data is compliant to FAIR principles. What are FAIR principles? FAIR comes up from fundable. The researchers need to make sure that when they are conducting their research, the data can be easily fundable by making sure that during the active process of research, they apply good research practices to ensure that at the end of the day, their data can be easily fundable. Accessible, where is this data going to be shared? Who's going to have access? And also, not forgetting research data management regulations. When we talk about policies, is the researcher protecting the identity of the participants? Is the researcher not breaking any research laws when it comes to sharing this data and also storing it? And also, when we talk about interoperability, where you store your data, can this data still be used by people who, if, let's say you are conducting your research and you decided to use proprietary software or platforms that also may put other people at the disadvantage because they cannot use that data because you've decided to put this research in a manner whereby they do not have access in using those tools. And also, when the researchers find your data sets, can researchers reproduce what you have done? Can they reuse your data? And also, when we are talking about the reuse of data, we cannot shy away from the lack of interest from the researchers in terms of sharing their data sets, because some are afraid that their data sets might be misinterpreted. They can be misquoted based on their findings. But if ever good research RDM practices are implemented during the active phase of the research, those those can be avoided. And also, why do we need to manage our research data? Many funding agencies, they require data management plans that can be submitted with the grant applications. And also, some academic journals, they may want access to your data. So it is very important to ensure that you followed good RDM practices and also make use of tools or softwares that can be easily accessible, maybe by the reviewers of the journals, and also to ensure reproducibility of the research is achieved. That was the background on the research data management. Just key points to take away from data management. If ever data is managed properly, it will make it easier to analyze, organize documented data. It could be easy to find data more easily, and it can assist the researcher not drown in irrelevant data, because when you do your data selection, if ever you've documented it clearly, that can make it easier for you to select the relevant data that can be useful to the research. And also, if ever you documented your data properly, that can also enable the researcher to decide on which relevant data are they going to be preserving, because we all know storage comes with a cost, and many researchers are struggling to find funding, and it is important to consider such things when a researcher is conducting the research. It is important not to lose the data. Where are you storing the data? What sort of tools is the institution providing? Are those tools safe? Do those tools have backup? Those are such questions that each and every researcher needs to answer when they are completing their DMP. And they can do so easily in the new SunDMP. It is important when we are advocating for data sharing, it is important to make sure that a proper licensing are applied when you are sharing your data, so that each and every researcher can be credited for their work. And also, it is, as I've mentioned in the previous slide, if ever you document your data properly, you can be in the position to avoid accusation of misconduct because you've clearly documented your data, and anyone who gets access to your data can easily follow your data with the proper documentation that you've done on your research. And we decided before we even tell the researchers to go and complete the DMP, they need to understand the basic guide in data handling, whereby we talk about data checking. What is data checking? Data checking is the quality of processed data can be assured through the use of appropriate data entry or capture and data checking techniques. What are data checking techniques? Encompasses the editing, cleaning, verification, cross-checking, and validation of data. That's data checking. And then we go to file formats. The researcher needs to think what kind of file formats are they going to apply in their research. I will just mention three: open formats, standard formats, lossless formats. And each researcher needs to understand these form, how different these forms are. With open formats, they promote transparency because open formats are fully transparent and not proprietary, meaning that anyone can access the specifications and create tools to work with these formats without any restrictions. When it comes to interoperability, when we are talking about open formats, they promote interoperability since they can be accessed and utilized across different platforms and software applications. And mostly open formats are community driven, typically developed and maintained by a community of users or organizations rather than a single entity. An example of open formats that researchers can think of using: open document formats, a scalable vector for graphics or vector graphics. And when we talk about standard formats, they with the standard formats, they differ from open formats because standard formats, they need to adhere to standards. And mostly these standards are regulated by organizations. One positive that I can highlight about standard formats: they are often well documented because they are regulated by the organization, or they comply to in some international standards set by the recognized organizations. And when it comes to interoperability, when we are talking about standard formats, like open formats, they promote interoperability and compatibility across different software and systems. As I've mentioned, they are regulated by or governed by standard bodies or organization just to ensure consistency and stability over time. An example of standard formats: it's portable document format, PDF documents, JPEG for photographic expert groups. And we mentioned the last one when we're dealing with file formats, which is lossless formats. Lossless formats, no data loss. They preserve all original data during compression and decompression, ensuring no loss of quality. They are ideal for archiving, often used for archiving purposes, where preserving original data quality of the content is crucial. Typically, typically results in larger file sizes compared to lossy compression methods due to preservation of all data. Example of lossless formats: it can be your PNG, which is portable network graphics for images. These file formats are very important for the researcher to consider at the beginning of the research. So when they are completing their DMP, they can highlight the type of file formats that they're going to use. Because when you are doing your research, you are not working in silo. Everything speaks to each other. How you document, how you store, how you share. And then we go to data organization. It is very important. If ever the researcher can master organizing the data, simple folder structure. If ever you have a project, you name the project, you give a location. Is it an observation? Is it an analysis? Where did the analysis take place? Where did the observation take place? All that kind of information you need to be as critical as possible when documenting these. You cannot leave anything because that piece of information can assist maybe other researchers who wants to reuse your data that you are going to share with other people. And then we talk about data documentation. When we talk about the data documentation, it's just a process of recording any aspects of research project design, sampling, data collection, cleaning, analysis that may affect the results. With data documentation, it is not a one-time requirement, and it does not work. It's one of those tasks that you cannot see them in retrospective tasks, but rather an active, ongoing process throughout the course of the research projects. An example of data documentation, we can look at the data dictionaries, we can look at code books, we can look at README text files. Those are some of the examples that assist in a proper data documentation. And then on the last one on this slide, I'm going to mention data organization, where file naming is concerned. On this slide, I've given an example of file naming system that you can have. And also, while you have the file naming system written, you cannot take it for granted that someone might understand what this file naming system say or intends to say. It is important to always interpret what your file names naming system is, as I've provided the example on this slide. And now on my next slide, I would like to just show a small video on why it is very important to ensure that proper data management is applied in any research. Kerna, if ever this is not audible, please notify me, but I believe I've done it to make sure that it is audible to everyone.
Hello. My name is Dr. Judy Benign. I'm an oncologist at NYU School of Medicine.
Hello, Dr. Judy Benign.
I read your article on B cell function. I think that I could use the data for my work on pancreatic cancer.
I am not an oncologist.
I know, but I think I could use the data for my work on pancreatic cancer. Do you have the data?
Everything you need to know is in the article.
No. What I need is the data. Will you share your data?
I am not sure that will be possible.
But your work is in PubMed Central and was funded by NIH.
That is true.
And it was published in Science, which requires that you share your data.
I did publish in Science.
Then I am requesting your data. Can I have a copy of your data?
I am not sure where my data is.
But surely you saved your data.
I did. I saved it on a USB drive.
Where is the USB drive?
It is in a box. It is in a box at home. I just moved.
But can I use your data?
There are many boxes. So many boxes. I forgot to label the boxes.
Hello again. Thank you for sending me a copy of your data on a USB drive. I received the envelope yesterday.
You are welcome, but I will need that back when you are finished. That is my only copy.
I did have a question.
What is your question? You might find the answer in my article.
No. I received the data, but when I opened it up, it was in hexadecimal.
Yes, that is right.
I cannot read hexadecimal.
You asked for my data and I gave it to you. I have done what you asked.
But is there a way to read the hexadecimal?
You will need the program that created the hexadecimal file.
Yes, I will. What is the name of the program?
Cytosynth.
I do not know this program.
It was a very good program. The company that made the program went bankrupt in 2007.
Do you have a copy of the program?
I do not use this program anymore because the company that made it went bankrupt. Maybe you can buy a copy on eBay.
I have good news.
You again.
I talked to my colleague. She knew a person with a copy of the software.
Then why do you need me? Everything you need to know about the data is in the article.
I opened the data and I could not understand it.
If you have the program, you will find it is clear.
Well, I noticed that you called your data fields SAM. Is that an abbreviation?
Yes, it is an abbreviation of my co-author's name. His name is Samuel Lee. We call him Sam.
I see. And what is the content of the field called SAM1?
Ah yes, SAM1 is the level of CXCR4 expression.
And what is the content of the field called SAM2?
That is logical if you think about it.
What is the content of the field called SAM2?
I don't remember.
What about SAM3? Is there a guide to the data anywhere?
Yes, of course. It is the article that is published in Science.
The article does not tell me what the field names mean. Is there any record of what these field names mean?
Yes. My co-author knows what the content of SAM2 is, and SAM3, and SAM4.
Can I talk to your co-author?
I'm not sure.
I would very much like to talk to your co-author.
Well, he was a graduate student. He went back to China 2 years ago.
Can I have his contact information?
He is in China. His name is Sam Lee.
I think I cannot use your data.
You could check the article to see if what you need is there.
Please stop talking now.
Thank you everyone for listening to the video that I've just shared. On the video, we have noticed that there was a poor archive process that the researcher has done. That is very important when you are doing your DMP and also conducting your research. You need to consider such facts, and also poor data documentation. As you can see, the fields are not properly explained what do each field entails. So meaning that if ever this person did not ask the researcher what each field means, meaning that they can easily interpret the data any way they see it fit. So I decided to share this short clip so that everyone can see the bigger picture when it comes to proper data management and the importance of each step when even considering the program that you are using. That can be a problem too. Taking it back now to where we are, as SU, we have the SunDMP that can be used during the data management plan. And I've decided to just highlight a few tools that we have that can assist the researchers each and every step of the research life cycle. First one is the SunDMP. This is where our researchers are going to outline how are they going to be handling their data during the active process of their research and up until the end. And then we go on the orange side, which is SunScholar data. What is SunScholar data? Basically, it is an institutional data repository powered by Figshare, where our researchers, they can share their data sets. By sharing their data sets, that can increase the visibility of the researcher and also of the institution. And also by sharing their data sets, they can link their data sets to the research output, e.g. your article that you have published, meaning that the researcher can stand a chance to be cited more. And also, if ever data is properly documented, that can make it easier for other researchers to cite that data. And then we go to the share and disseminate. What tools do we have? When we are talking about sharing, you can share your data on SunScholar data, but now you don't want to make your data public. You want a secured platform whereby you can share it with with other collaborators. We have this SU OneDrive. We have a RedCap whereby you can send your data, which is secured and is supported by the SUIT team. And then when you are collecting your data, I've mentioned four. You can use Qualtrics, you can use RedCap, you can use Sun Surveys, you can use Microsoft Forms. Those are one of the tools that the researcher the research IT team is supporting here at Stellenbosch University. So each and every step of the research life cycle, there is a tool. And also when you think about archiving, what sort of tool are you going to use in terms of archiving your data? You can maybe archive your data on the SU1 drive, that will be there, or you can put it on the Sun Scholar data, whereby you can share that data with other people. And also when it comes to analyze and collaborate your data, we have, I'll just mention Atlas TI. If ever you want to analyze your data, it's one of the tools that we do support here at Stellenbosch. So each and every stage of research, there is a tool that is there for the researchers to make use of. And in this slide, I decided to just give SU research management overview to just notify the researchers everything that you do here does not work in silos. If ever you look at the data management plan, you see where you need your data management plan, funder policy requirements, funding proposal. You go to SunDMP, you can do that. If ever, let's say now, you go also, when you are conducting your DMP, there are such questions whereby they will ask you, will personal information be collected or processed? Due to the collaboration we have with the governance department, information governance department of SU, such questions are very important when you are completing your data management plan, because if ever you are going to select yes, on the DMP, we introduce you to the personal impact with the personal information private impact assessment. We can direct you there whereby you can find out and also complete that form that can assess whether the information that you are going to be collecting, the personal information that you will be collecting, is high risk or low risk or minimal. Such things are very needed when you are applying for your ethical approval that you can do with any REC committee. It can be HREC, it could be humanities, or it can be animal. So all of these things, they do not work in silos. So on the TMP, you need to be such aware of things. And then now the main event, why we are here today. What is SunDMP? Basically, it's just a tool that enables the researchers to generate a DMP. And depending on what the researcher wants, do you want your DMP in a Word format? The platform allows you to have various formats in terms of the type of DMP that you are looking for. And then this one of the features that we decided to highlight, each and every user, when you are completing your DMP, the platform, each and every answer that you are giving, the platform can assess whether your data that you are going to be collecting and also working on your research, how fair your data is, depending on where you want to store the data, how you want to share the data, and who's going to have access on your data. Such things are very important because while you are starting with your research, the platform can give you an indication how fair your data can be. And also, if ever you can go to the platform, you are new to data management plan, you, basically what you'll be doing, you'll be just completing uh, a form whereby we ask you questions and then we provide guidance. But the guidance is not cast in stone, depending on what your research is intending to do. So you are more than welcome to answer the questions according to the research project's needs. And also, by doing this, if ever you are completing the DMP on the Sun platform, you can always come back to the DMP and make changes at a later stage. So once you've completed your DMP, you can always go back and complete it again or make amendments, because a data management plan, it is a living document that needs to be updated frequently as the research changes or as you are making progress into your research, or maybe changing the techniques or the methodologies that you are going about with your research project. Now the researcher is going to ask, why do they need to use this tool? As we said, you can easily generate or develop your data management plan, and you can outline how your research will be processed and analyzed. You can outline how the research will be shared by just completing those forms, because we have created an SU dedicated template that will ensure that we've taken care of legal matters, we've taken care of POPI matters, whereby we bring those questions into your DMP so that if ever you are applying for funding, you can touch on those matters and your grant application can be approved. And this template that we have created, it has several chapters or sections. We've decided to make sure that each section is different from the other. As you can see, the first section, it's where you provide the researcher information. And the second one is the research project details. Like for an example, the title of the research project that you are working on. Is the project funded? Do you have the grant number? You just capture such questions. Are you intending to apply for funding? Is the funding approved? Where did you apply for funding? Those are sort of questions that you are going to answer under the research project details. And when we go to data description and collection or reuse of data, you describe the type of format that your data will be the type of data that you will be collecting. Is it secondary? Is it primary data? In what format are you going to be collecting this data? Where this data is going to be collected? Are you going to be collecting personal information? If yes, you need to provide a private impact assessment that is provided by the Department of Governance Information. And then we go to documentation and data quality. What sort of metadata documentations are you going to employ in your research? And what sort of data quality checks are you going to be doing on your data? Those are a sort of questions that you'll be answering on data documentation. And then we go to storage, backup, security. Where is the data stored? What sort of size of the data that you'll be collecting? Are there backups? If ever there are backups, are you going to be making regular checks of the backups, whether are they working or not? Where are the backups are? And also you go to the security, how secure it is, who can have access on it. Does it use a single sign-on? Does it use a password protected, password encrypted logins? Those are sort of things that you are going to answer when we are on storage, backup, and security. And then you go to legal and ethical requirements, codes of conduct, which ethical applications you will be applying to, what sort of legal and also um, acts that will apply on this data. And then we go to sharing and preservation. Are you going to publicly share your data when you are done? Are your participants aware of such information? Those are such small details that you need to outline when you are completing your DMP. And also, one of the most important things of having a data management plan, because it makes the researcher aware of what type of resources are they going to need and who's going to be doing what during the research process. So those are the very important things for each and every researcher so that they can avoid surprises towards the end of their research. Maybe for some instance, you want to store this data, but you did not factor in the cost of storage. Maybe you want to, you did not think about the size of the data that you are going to be generating. When it comes to data selection, what sort of selection method that you are going to use in selecting the relevant data that is related to the results of the research that you have conducted. So just by having a DMP, it gives you a holistic view of what your research is going to be at the end. In some instances, it cannot be fully as you have envisioned it, but it gives you that sense. And then we talk about the RTM support platforms we offer as the library. As you can see, we do have the research data management LibGuide that is active. Our researchers can access, they can get information. What is research data management and what are the research data management regulation? What does the university say? Because one question might arise if ever I'm applying for grant and some funders have their own DMP, in that instance, what am I expected to do? Because you are saying Stellenbosch University has its own SU template. But if ever you go to our RDM regulation, you'll find out that if ever you are applying for external funding, the rules or the rules of the external funder will precede what SU has. So you'll be forced to make use of the funder template if ever they have one. But if ever they do not have a DMP template, you can simply use our SU when you are applying for the funding. And also, we do have RDM services and library information services. This is where it provides access to RDM advisory services and training sessions. You can have a look at it. It's active. It is in the library. We are responsible for that. We have the SunDMP, our third, whereby it allows SU researchers to develop and generate data management plans. We have SunScholar. SunScholar, this is where our researchers, they can share their data sets with the open, whereby they can stand a chance to be cited, whereby they can link their data sets with their research outputs, with their articles that they have published, so that if ever people are going to the Sun Scholar data, they can easily have access to their work that they have published. Maybe that can also increase citation and also increase visibility. And then we have the Sun Scholar Data LibGuide. That one also, it is there on the library to ensure that our researchers are equipped with all the necessary information. And we have the RDM adventure game. Basically, it is an interactive fiction game whereby you just go to the RDM adventure game. You can try to answer questions that are related to your research, and it's going to give you a score of how good are you going to be managing your research data. And also, as I've mentioned, the privacy impact assessment. If ever you are collecting uh, personal information, this online self-assessment tool is very important to establish the risk that is associated with the research that you are going to be doing. This one, the responsible division is the Information and Governance Department that is responsible for that. And then we have the Information Governance Service Desk. That also, it falls under the Information and Governance Department. So those are the RDM support platforms and tools that we ensure that our researchers are well aware of and they know how to navigate around managing their research and ensure that if ever they are managing, if ever they are following these processes, if ever they are applying for ethics, that can make it easier for them because they will be using the SU supported tools. And we do have the research ICT toolbox. And we see that as you can see, we have the Sun Scholar data. When it comes to sharing, we do have the Sun DMP. And also, if ever you see this slide, it consists of all the tools that SU is supporting. As you can see, SharePoint, OneDrive, MATLAB, Atlas TIs, we do have all those. If ever you would like assistance, the asset, they are they are hosted by different divisions or departments. So you are more than welcome to contact us. We can direct you to the relevant department that can assist you with that. Um, Approaching the end of my presentation, but before we can end the presentation, I would like everyone to know where to access SunDMP. Basically, just to give an overview before I can do a practical demonstration whereby I'll be forced to stop sharing and share again. Basically, in order for you to access the SunDMP, you need to go to the official you need to go to the official SU website, and then you can go on the library, or you can go directly to the library website. On the library website, you can just click research. Under research, you go to data management plan tool. Let me quickly just try to stop sharing so that so that I can share how am I going to view the DMP.
While we are waiting for Kabisa to just log into his own screen and share with us again, I would really like to invite you also to attend the rest of our Research Week program as well. And I'll share the link with you. You can see the link and also where to make your bookings. Thank you.
Thank you, Hanley, for that. It gave me a bit of time to navigate my way to the SunDMP. I'm going to share it now. Let me go there now.
We can see your screen.
Okay, that's a wrong one. Okay,
Yes, you can go ahead.
yes. Basically, what you do, you go to the official library website. When you are there, you go to research. Under research, you go to data management tool with a SunDMP in brackets. Once you are there, you go to DMP software heading, and that's where you can access SunDMP. The first thing, once you are on the DM or on the SunDMP, you are going to capture your SU credential in order for you to log in. But once you've done that, the system is going to generate an authentication code that will be sent to your SU email. You get that code and then you'll paste it, and you can manage to view this. If ever this is your first time, you are not going to have anything under research projects. But as you can see, it says welcome Tabiso, and then there is create project. You can simply go on create project. On the create project, we always advise that the name of the project, we always say just write the name of the project that you are currently working on. For the sake of this process, I'm just going to write training. And then under training, it asks you which project template are you going to be using. I've mentioned on the presentation that we have the SU dedicated template. So under this project template, you simply select, it's only one, by the way. It's the SU template, and then you create. Once you've clicked on create, I've mentioned that we have several sections of the SunDMP whereby you can capture the researcher information. You simply, as you can see, name, surname, email, and it provides you guidance. Provide an official Stellenbosch University email. You capture your ORCID ID. you capture your university affiliation, and then the role that you are playing in this research that you are developing a DMP for. Are you the contact person? Are you the data collector? So you select the role that is relevant to you. And what is your designation? Are you an academic? Are you a researcher? Such questions, just straightforward questions that you can answer. If ever, let's say now, there are co-authors, you can capture the co-authors. At the end, if ever there are more than one co-author, you can keep on adding. The platform is going to allow you to add more co-authors according to the number of co-authors your research is going to have. And then I'm going to go to research project details. On the research project details, you write the project name, the project abstract, when is the project starting, when is the project ending. Those are the anticipated date. As we've mentioned, a DMP, it's a living document, so you can anticipate to start the project in June, but you cannot start that project if ever you do not have an ethical clearance. So that's where the living comes from. You can anticipate it, but it does not mean it's going to happen at that time. That's where you capture just the research project details. All these questions are just about your project details. And then you go to data description. The same, you follow the same flow. They ask you a question, they provide with options if ever there are options. And then if ever the option is, for an example, describe the nature of your research data. If ever you are going to be using both, you can simply select both. But in this instance, which is 2B. How will new data be collected? If ever it does not fall within the options that we have provided, you can select other. If ever you select other, the platform is going to provide you with the text box whereby you can elaborate. If ever it's not one of the options that we have given you, which um, way of data collection are you going to be using? That is the same process, but you are given different questions and also you can answer them as, as they apply to your research. So once that is done, I'm just going to go to preview. As you can see here, we have the share button. If ever I want to add someone, I can add that person. Let's say I'm going to add a user here. uh, the, there are different users that are here. Let me try to add someone using an email address. Oh no. You can simply add that person with an email address, SU email address, and then you can, let me just select the first one that appears here. Liesel, and then you can select the type of role that you want that person to play. Are they going to be just a viewer, a commenter, editor, or owner too? And then you can select visible to all other logged users. Do you need a public link? If ever you select a public link, you can simply just copy it and say maybe you can send it via email so that anyone can have access to this. But maybe some would want to do it, some may not want to do it. So you can easily share your project that you are currently busy with. In some instances, it can be your student or you can share it with your supervisor. And then let's say now another functionality that the platform has, the to do. If ever you are still what you if ever you want to say that you are going to do the question, you can click on to do, and then the system is going to allow you to get back to it. And once that is done, let's go to preview. When we go to preview, we've mentioned that you can save this document in different file formats. So when you go to preview, you simply go to settings. Settings, just for the sake of this, I'm just going to say training. And then the default template, I'm just going to select questionnaire report, and then it gives me the different file formats. I'm just going to select a PDF, and then I save it. Now I've saved it as PDF, and this is going to go. As you can see, this is the PDF document. It gives you the metrics, whether was your data, depending on what you've answered. Since for this, we did not answer the question, it gives you the metrics. Was your data, is your data going to be easily fundable, depending on the questions that you have, on the answers that you provided on while we were completing the form. Whether the privacy of the data, is the data going to be privately secured, how secure the data is. So those are one of the functionalities that the system has. You can always get back to it and complete the form as you do. Our colleagues are just now to go to my last slide. I'm going to stop sharing the live demo and get back to the slide. Okay, colleagues, this is where I would like to end the presentation today, where SunDMP is concerned. But just to mention, the system has been launched successfully, and we intend to run training sessions. If ever you are not comfortable using the platform, you are more than welcome to contact me, Tabiso, and my surname is Gracie. And also you can contact Sizwe Nobo that can give you assistance when it comes to this. And in the coming weeks, we intend to have SunDMP Wednesdays, whereby we will be conducting regular trainings on how to navigate the system, in how to create your DMP, in how to manage your existing DMP on the platform. So you'll be more than welcome to join those training sessions if ever you need more assistance where SunDMP is concerned. Even if it's not SunDMP, where research data management is concerned, feel free to contact us. Thank you so much, colleagues, and thank you, Henley.
Kabisa, thank you so much for all this information and for sharing this with us. And I hopefully to prevent our researchers' data ending up in a box somewhere unmarked and unable to answer any questions regarding their data. I think it is clear that data management is really a very important and compulsory step in the whole research process. And it's very reassuring to know that we do have assistance and tools available in the library. And I really want to thank beforehand Kabiso and his colleagues for their service and assistance. We have about 5 minutes for questions. You are more than welcome to unmute yourself and ask a question, or feel free to use the chat, and you're also welcome to send your questions to Kabisa. I've put a link to his email in the chat as well. Any questions? There's thank yous coming up. All right, if there's no questions, thank you once again. Please join us for the rest of our research week. And our next session will be at 10:15, and that will be about mixed methods research. And I hope to see you all there. Thank you all for joining. And once again, thank you for the presentation.